These are my bold predictions for every single team in Major League Baseball for the 2026 offseason. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comment section below. Give me your bold opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more baseball content. Also, just a disclaimer, these predictions all live in a vacuum. They have no impact on each other, so if I have one team trading for a guy, it doesn't stop another team trading for a guy, if that makes sense. I hope it does. Can't wait to see the comments. Getting it started off in the American League East with the Boston Red Sox. I think they're going to trade Tristan Casas and Jarren Duran this offseason. Honestly, I think the Red Sox are going to sign Pete Alonso, so Tristan Casas becomes kind of redundant, and it feels like they've been trying to push him out of Boston for quite some time now. He just hasn't really been healthy. I don't want to say there's been off-the-field issues, because that's not fair, but he is a bit immature, and it just doesn't feel like this organization is gelling with Tristan Casas right now. Causes a lot more issues than solutions, and if you go out and get a good first baseman like a Pete Alonso, or even a Murakami or an Okamoto, or any of the guys that are really available this offseason, I think the Red Sox would be comfortable moving on from Tristan Casas to help out other parts of this organization and roster that could come back in the trade. Along with trading Jarren Duran, it's more of a he's getting pushed out scenario rather than the Red Sox not wanting him. They have Roman Anthony, who's an MVP in the making. They have Willy Abreu, who might honestly be better than Jarren Duran. I know that's maybe a little insane to say, but Willy Abreu is really good. Next season could be a huge breakout year. And Ceddanne Rafaela is one of the best defensive center fielders in all of Major League Baseball. How can the Red Sox get better without spending a ton of money? Trade a player like Jarren Duran. There are a lot of teams that could use his bat, that could use his glove. He's a very good baseball player, but doesn't really fit on this Red Sox roster right now, and it might be a good time to move on from him to help improve other parts of this organization and roster, similarly to Casas. So, yeah, I think the Red Sox trade both Casas and Duran this offseason. For the American League champion Toronto Blue Jays, I think they might have a huge offseason, and it starts with signing Kyle Tucker. They have been involved in every major free agent rumor the last few seasons. They didn't get Ohtani, they didn't get Soto, they didn't get Yamamoto. They have been linked to some of the biggest free agents the last couple years. And Kyle Tucker is a free agent. He fits what this team could use, which is a corner power bat in the outfield. And he's so good. We're kind of weirdly undervaluing Kyle Tucker on the free agent market right now. I don't know why, but people are trying to pretend like he isn't one of the 20 best players in Major League Baseball. The Blue Jays pony up all the money. They spend the money that maybe they would have considered spending on Bo, go after Kyle Tucker instead, and ultimately ends up being a more impactful and better signing. Adding Kyle Tucker to this lineup would be insane. This team would be loaded, and for the American League champions, the best way to repeat and get back to the World Series in 2026, bring in Kyle Tucker to this roster. Imagine if he was getting at bats hitting 2 instead of Nathan Lucas. You'd feel a lot better against the Dodgers. You might win the World Series. Not a shot at Nathan Lucas, it's just Kyle Tucker's much better. For the Baltimore Orioles, they stunk last year. What a horrible season. And I know some of you in the comments like to tell me the Orioles' biggest problem isn't their starting pitching. It was their bullpen. But let's be honest, this rotation is still very weak. I think the Orioles actually might spend some money this offseason. They have a rich owner. He pretended like he was going to spend money years ago. Seems like Mike Elias put the quash on that last season. But this year, there are some free agent pitchers that they could go after. There are guys on the trade market. There are great bullpen arms available. For a team that has a lot of improving to do this offseason, they can instantly make their team better by going out and signing a Framber Valdez, who came from the Astros organization, where Mike Elias once was. Maybe making a trade for a Sandy, or even trying to go after a Tarek Skubal, or any of the pitchers that are available. I think the Orioles should be and could be linked to them. They have a lot of young players to trade. And then the bullpen market. There are a lot of great relievers that the Orioles can grab to this bullpen to either take over the closer role from Felix Bautista, although I wouldn't do that, more so to fill in the rest of the gaps in this bullpen to help get the ball to Bautista at the end of the game so they can still win some games. I expect the Orioles to be aggressive. Last season was embarrassing. Finally, on to the New York Yankees. You guys hated me. I didn't predict a single player in my free agent prediction video to the New York Yankees. Granted, we were talking about the top free agents, and truly, I believe the Yankees signed 0 players to a multi-year deal. If you look at this roster, there's not a ton of flexibility. Just gonna go through it real quick for you. They're pretty set at catcher. At first base, they got Ben Rice. Set there. Second base, Jazz Chisholm. Shortstop, they should improve, but Anthony Volpe's their guy along with Jose Caballero. Third base, they got Ryan McMahon making a bunch of money. He's there for a couple more seasons. In the outfield, you have Aaron Judge and Jason Dominguez. They have to play Dominguez at some point. Center field is the one spot. And truthfully, I think they might go for more of a short-term option. Now, again, this is a bold prediction. They probably do sign a center fielder to multi-years, but the rotation set, the bullpen kind of just needs guys to fill in the gaps. Again, not really these big arms. They've got some good guys out there in Bednar and Fernando Cruz and Tim Hill. They have Camilo Doval and Jake Bird still. Will Warren's probably going to the bullpen. The Yankees don't have that many holes. The roster's good. I don't think they go crazy this offseason and spend a lot of money. And then finally, the Tampa Bay Rays. I don't know if this is bold. It was hard to find one for them, but truthfully, I think they end up trading both Yandy Diaz and Brandon Lau this offseason. The Rays are in a weird spot where the team's not bad, but they're definitely not good. And I don't think that having guys like Yandy Diaz and Brandon Lau on this team really makes them any better than they are with them than without them. Let me explain. First base, a lot of people could use help. Yandy Diaz could play there or be a DH option. He is a good ball player. Like, he helps this Rays team. So is Brandon Lau, but they're not winning with him. Might as well continue to bolster up that minor league system. You have guys that can fill in these spots. Get creative, play some Rays baseball. Seems like these are guys that are on the move. And Brandon Lau, second base is such a weak position. You could get some really, really good value for one of the better hitting second basemen in baseball right now. I think it'd be time to move on from these two. But first, this video is sponsored by Arena Club. If you're into collecting cards or just getting started, trust me, you're gonna love this. Arena Club is home of the original slab packs. Arena Club slab packs take the thrill of opening up a pack and combines it with the freedom of being able to buy, sell, and trade your cards and pulls instantly, all digitally. And I'm gonna open up one of the slab packs myself right now to show you guys what you can possibly get. We're gonna go after a baseball pack, of course. We're gonna click one of their Ruby packs. And as you can see with every single slab pack, it tells you what you can get inside. There's always a Grail card, and right now we're chasing that 1952 Bowman Mickey Mantle. It tells you the hit rate. You can scroll down and see what some of the chase cards are, like these Ellie De La Cruz, James Wood, and Bobby Witt cards. You see every other option that you have along with the hit rates, which is great. And all these cards are already graded, so you literally have nothing to worry about. Okay, it's time to open up my slab pack. Let's see what we get inside this month's Arena Club Ruby Baseball slab pack. It's opening up the pack, and we get, a Pete Rose, Topps Tiffany Gem Mint 10. I wonder what the value is, and what's great is Arena Club's going to tell me right now. And it tells me that it is estimated worth $212, which if I want to sell it on my own or add it to my collection, I don't have to accept Arena Club's offer, but they offered me $190, and honestly, I'm a little bit lazy. So I'm just going to accept the offer, and now that balance has been added immediately to my Arena Club account, so I could go out and buy more packs or do whatever I want with this money on Arena Club. And let's just say I was opening up these slab packs and got cards that I'd want. I'd be able to show them off in my showroom, but you look at guys like Derek Jeter, Pac-Man, Jim Rome, AJ and Big Justice are on here. You can go through and check out all the cards that they have in their showroom. Right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/GiraffeNeckMarc and using my code GiraffeNeckMarc. That's arenaclub.com/GiraffeNeckMarc for 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase. Link is in the description, of course. Switching over to the National League East now. Let's start off with my favorite team, the New York Mets. Bold prediction for them. I think they trade for Ketel Marte. Mike Hazen of the Arizona Diamondbacks said that they are listening to offers. It's unlikely they trade Ketel, so this is why it's bold, but they're looking for pitching. And the Mets have a lot of young pitching. The Mets have a lot of MLB ready pitching, and they can also take on Ketel Marte's contract. You could move Spro, you could move Tong, you could move Kodai Senga, you could move any of their minor league pitchers that are kind of on their way up, along with some other minor league bats. The Mets have a loaded farm system. Trading for Ketel Marte makes sense because he improves this team dramatically, and the Diamondbacks have a need, and the Mets can fill that need, along with take some money off their books in a season where they're probably not going to be very successful in the wins and loss column as of right now. So I think the Mets bold prediction trade for Ketel Marte. For the Atlanta Braves, my bold prediction, really not that bold, but I'm going to say that they sign Harrison Bader to platoon with Michael Harris in center field. It also allows them then on days where there's right-handed pitching on the mound to put Harrison Bader in the corner, give Ronald Acuna Jr. some time at DH, take some of that pressure off his knees. He's still coming back from 2 major knee surgeries. I think it would be a smart move to give Acuna less days out in the outfield, put him at the DH spot. Signing a guy like Harrison Bader to help out in center field in the corner feels like a really good deal for them. For the Washington Nationals, I guess it's maybe not as bold now because Ken Rosenthal and Will Salmon both said that they expect Mackenzie Gore to possibly be on the move this offseason. And I could see it. The Nationals are in this weird spot where while Mackenzie Gore we know is going to be really good, the amount of time that they have left with him might not match up with how quickly the Nationals can rebuild, and they can get a ton back for Mackenzie Gore right now, which might help in the future. I hate this move. I don't want it to happen. I want the Nationals to actually try and build around the blocks that they have in Mackenzie Gore, CJ Abrams, and James Wood, along with Dylan Cruz. But I think if they get an offer they can't refuse, they're going to have to move on from Mackenzie Gore. For the Philadelphia Phillies, bold prediction. Everyone thinks they're going to buy, right? What if they trade Bryce Harper? Those Dombrowski comments earlier this offseason were weird, and the fact that Bryce Harper responded back to them were weird. Do I think this is going to happen? No, these are bold predictions. But what if Bryce Harper wants out of Philadelphia? What if we have a Rafael Devers situation? Remember how kind of innocuous that was at the beginning of the offseason last year? And then all of a sudden he's not on the Red Sox anymore. I don't think this is happening. It would be insane. This would be like trading Luka Doncic type stuff. But the fact that there seems to be a weird already relationship between Harper and Dombrowski building, I wouldn't feel great if I was a Phillies fan right now about that exact situation. But yeah, I mean, they're not going to trade him, but this is a bold prediction. Is it not trading Bryce Harper? That'd be insane. Of course, they're going to be buying though. That's not happening. And then for the last team, the Miami Marlins, I actually think they signed a bunch of guys this offseason. We heard Peter Bendix mention they are interested in trying to get better. And while they do have some cornerstones, it feels like, in this organization right now, guys like Yuri Perez and Kyle Stowers on this roster, I think they want to get some veteran leadership around these guys to help, again, on the margins. Maybe you bring in a veteran catcher like a JT Realmuto. Maybe you bring in some shorter-term guys, but at the end of the day, I think they signed multiple free agents to multi-year deals. Again, that can be 2-year deals, but I think the Marlins are going to try and be more competitive than people think, and appear at least to be trying to win more baseball games actively than they have the last few seasons. Last year was a good year. Try and keep moving forward. To the AL Central we go. Let's get it started off with the Chicago White Sox. My bold prediction is they don't trade Luis Robert Jr. Hard to predict something bold for this organization. There's not a lot that they can do, and the boldest thing would be to keep Luis Robert, have him start the season, let him get hot, and then trade him. While there is weirdly a rush to trade him, there also isn't. You can move Luis Robert whenever you want now. He's under contract. He's not leaving, and maybe you just want to show teams that he's got a little something left in the tank. A hot start to the season, trade him in May, could really get a lot back, more than you probably could this offseason. And we know that their asking price at the deadline was pretty high. The White Sox want a lot back for Robert. He's a good ball player. For the Minnesota Twins, maybe it's not bold, but they trade both Pablo Lopez and Joe Ryan this offseason. The Twins are rebuilding. They're tearing it down. They're not spending money. This feels like a team that wants to start over. And how do you do that? Trade Joe Ryan, trade Pablo Lopez, who both have a lot of value on the market right now, aren't helping you win baseball games. This sucks because I actually think the Twins could go out and make some moves to make their team better and probably be competitive to win the AL Central. It's not a great division, but ultimately I do think they end up moving on from Pablo and Joe Ryan. Just doesn't make sense to keep these guys around when they can go get a haul back. These are two of the top 30 pitchers in the game when healthy. Joe Ryan, even higher ceiling. For the Detroit Tigers, my bold prediction, it sounds crazy, but maybe they sign Kyle Tucker. There's an AJ Hinch connection. Maybe they bring the boys back. They bring Kyle Tucker in. They bring Alex Bregman in. I know they're playing cheap with Tarek Skubal, so it doesn't make any sense, but I could see AJ Hinch wanting to get the gang back together. Bregman at third, Kyle Tucker in the corner spot. All of a sudden, you're looking at the Tigers as one of the best teams in baseball. Of course, below the Dodgers. But you bring in Kyle Tucker, alone it helps. You bring in both him and Bregman, spend some serious cash, which I don't know if the Tigers can or will, but that would be kind of cool, right? A little bit of an AJ Hinch Astros reunion just in Detroit. That team would smack. For the Kansas City Royals, my bold prediction is that they trade for Jarren Duran. The Royals need more major league hitters. They don't have many of them. That lineup is atrocious. How do you get better? Get Jarren Duran. In that ballpark, he's going to hit 30 triples in a season. He's going to be incredible out there. And the Royals have enough that's interesting to the Red Sox where the Red Sox would consider making that trade. Now, I don't think they're sending Vinny Pasquantino back. I saw some people talking on Twitter. There's absolutely no way Vinny P gets traded for Jarren Duran. That's a bad move for the Royals. But trading some prospects or even close to MLB-ready guys that the Royals have, I could see a world where the Royals and the Red Sox figure out a deal to get Duran in Kansas City. And then last but not least, for the Cleveland Guardians, I think that they trade for Brendan Donovan and Lars Nootbaar from the Cardinals. They need a corner outfielder, Lars Nootbaar. They need a second baseman, Brendan Donovan. There you go. It's that simple. The Guardians need to prove to Jose Ramirez that they are actively trying to win. He made a statement this offseason saying how, if you don't prove to me you're trying to win, I'm not signing an extension here. And Jose Ramirez is too damn good to let walk. I know the Guardians don't spend money, but that's the guy you should. Go get some winning players, some good players around the Guardians. If they added 2 major league bats to this roster, they are going to be infinitely better. You can't keep playing Brian Rocchio. I can't see more of Will Brennan out there. Go get some real players. Donovan and Nootbaar would be amazing grabs for them. And both those guys are very much available. On to the National League Central we go. Let's get it started off with the cheap Chicago Cubs. Bold prediction, they trade for Tarek Skubal. They kind of did it last offseason with Kyle Tucker, remember? They brought him in. Why not take another shot on a rental in Tarek Skubal? The Ricketts make you believe that they care about winning, even though we know they don't. They only care about profits. Otherwise, Kyle Tucker would be a Cub for the rest of his career. They sell tickets, they make money, they turn a profit, they're happy. And as a Cubs fan, you're happy too because you got Tarek Skubal. Because honestly, otherwise, I think that the Cubs are going to have a pretty quiet offseason, which is why making any sort of move where the Cubs would have to spend any amount of money would be a bold move for them. Tarek Skubal, and they definitely have the prospects to get it done in a trade. Milwaukee Brewers. I think the Brewers sign Kyle Schwarber, keep Freddie Peralta. They make those two moves, they have a much better chance of reaching the World Series because we saw they just did not have enough this season. You can't trade Freddie. You can't. They're going to, but you can't. He's so cheap. Keep him there. Please stop trying to shed $8 million when you have a top 20 pitcher in the game on your roster. That's free. Keep Freddie Peralta. Go sign Kyle Schwarber. Get a big left-handed bat in that lineup. Something that they missed was that extra punch. You bring Kyle Schwarber into this lineup with how they get on base and how pesky they are. To have a little bit of a boom factor, that Milwaukee Brewers team would become so much better. And Kyle Schwarber would in Milwaukee. That ballpark would it would never see anything like him. It's like bringing Prince Fielder back. For the St. Louis Cardinals, I don't know if this is bold, but they trade everyone over the age of 28. I'm not even kidding. Take a look at their roster. You are over the age of 28 even by a day. You are not on the opening day roster for the Cardinals on 2026. They have a bunch of young prospects coming up. JJ Weatherholt's going to start. They're going to get rid of Arenado if they can. They're going to get rid of Sonny Gray if they can. Lars Nootbaar, Brendan Donovan. The list goes on and on. Wilson Contreras. If you are over the age of 28, you will not be on this Cardinals roster. Or at least if you were over the age of 28 at the time of recording, you will not be on the Cardinals roster opening day. They got to move on. This team stinks. And when I say stinks, it's not because they're going to lose the most games in baseball. It's just because they're not going to win even close to enough to make the playoffs. And do you really want to just be like a 75-win team every year? No. Make a decision. Do something. Heimblum's tore it down before. He'll tear it down this time. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, we got crazy comments out of them recently. Ben Cherington talking about that they've got some money and they might be looking to spend. Now, I'll believe it when I see it, but a bold prediction, they spend the most money this offseason in the National League Central. I don't know where. I don't know how. I've always said this. Pete Alonso would be a perfect fit in Pittsburgh. That would be a guy I'd give the money to. Will they? No. Bob Nutting likes to pretend he's poor. You got to keep Paul Skeens there. You know how you keep him there? Give him the opportunity to win. They have really good pitching. Get some quality major league bats, and this team legit might have a chance to make the wild card. But with the way that the roster currently is, no, they can't. So they're going to have to spend a lot of money this offseason. It doesn't have to be crazy, but if they just put in even $100 million this offseason, this team becomes so much better. So why not? They spend the most money in the National League Central this offseason between trades and free agency. And then for the last team, the Cincinnati Reds, my bold prediction is they signed Elly De La Cruz to a long-term extension. We've always heard the rumors that Elly wants to be a Dodger at some point. He loves LA. That was his favorite team. He wants to go play there. While the Reds also don't spend money, they've given out big contract extensions before, and while Elly hasn't performed to the heights that we've expected, we know he's very good, and maybe, just maybe, they could get a slight discount because of the down season he had. Go sign him long-term. Buy out his arb years to save some money on the years after he'd hit free agency. This is a franchise player. You need to keep Elly De La Cruz in Cincinnati. He is way too talented. So I think they end up giving him the bag this offseason, signing like an 8 or 9 year extension, tons of money. He's a beast. Sign him. I'm looking at you, Bob Castellini. You don't spend any money either. Time to open up the checkbook. Last division in the American League, heading out to the AL West for the Los Angeles Angels. This is bold, even though this is exactly what they should do. They actually sell, and they look to rebuild for once. They have good young players, like Neto is good. Sean Noel is fine. I like Christian Moore. But because of all the craziness that's going on with the Tyler Skaggs stuff, and every single piece of news that comes out about them recently has been horrible, sell Artie Moreno. Sell the team, or sell some of the players on the team. Let Taylor Ward free. If someone wants Yusei Kikuchi, trade him. Anybody who is under a contract that's not in arbitration, they should be moving on from. In a perfect world, I think they'd love to trade Mike Trout, but I don't think he wants to get traded, so it's kind of impossible. But you made one of the worst trades ever. I don't know why you traded for Jorge Soler. That was crazy. Get rid of him. Basically, anybody on this roster should be available except for the young pieces. Sell, 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 and get ready to win sooner by subtracting this season, because this roster's not going anywhere right now. The Houston Astros, they trade for Freddie Peralta. They need another frontline starter to join Hunter Brown. They have too many guys in this rotation that are injury risks. Go get Freddie Peralta on a rental deal. $8 million is cheap. You've got the prospects that the Brewers would be interested in, some major league ready guys at positions that they would need. I really am not quite sure what the Astros are going to do this offseason. Again, I think they should spend. They missed the playoffs. What do you want to miss it again? If you don't get better, you're getting worse. Adding Freddie Peralta would definitely help out this team. Although you could make the argument that they're probably the same as if they had Freddie or Framber last year. Both really good pitchers. I'd like to see them trade for Freddie. For the Athletics, I think they might sign a veteran that's like actually good. Eugenio Suarez is the name that comes to mind. Put him at third base. Let him hit 50 home runs a year out in Sacramento. The A's are not far away from being a good team. They have some of the best young players in all of Major League Baseball. You saw Mr. Kurtz at first base. Jacob Wilson is awesome. Got Leo DeVries coming up the pipeline. He's going to be ready soon. I like Lawrence Butler. I like Brent Rooker. Go get another big bat, and all of a sudden, this A's team is a lot of fun. So yeah, sign Eugenio Suarez, bring in like a Chris Bassett, and they're going to be much better than they were last year. For the Seattle Mariners, I think that they finally trade Luis Castillo. Do I know for who? No. He's such a weird contract because he's good, but do you want to take on like the 70-ish million that's due? I don't know. I don't know what his value would be on the market, but I do think that the Mariners look to move on from Luis Castillo, take that money, able to spend it elsewhere on some free agent bats. We know that rotation's good. We know the bullpen's good. Luis Castillo, salute. You've done your job. You've been great out in Seattle, but it's time to move on, get some more offensive pieces, and try and get to the World Series. They were so close. Luis Castillo was not the problem. The offense wasn't the problem. The Blue Jays just beat them. But they need to go out and spend some more money on the offense this year, especially with the holes that they got offensively. Like, there's no third baseman, there's no first baseman, there's no second baseman. You need a corner outfielder. I think you save some money. I think you look to shed some salary by moving Castillo. Speaking of shedding salary, the Rangers are shedding salary this offseason. They've said it publicly. Chris Young said, we're cutting payroll. How do you do it? You got to trade away some guys. Of course, they're trading away Adolis Garcia. He's not going to be on the roster come 2026 opening day. But also, is this the time that they move on from Jacob deGrom? I think so. Now, I'm not going to be insane and say they're trading him to the Mets, although, God, I wish they would. I miss Jacob deGrom every single day. But deGrom is owed $38 million next year, $37 million in 2027 as a 39-year-old, and then there's a mutual option in 2028 where he's due $37. We don't know what the mutual option kickers are, but you're looking at over $100 million due to Jacob deGrom. I know that there's his limits of teams that he could go to. It's not a guarantee, but I think if they find the right spot for Jacob deGrom that he's happy with, I think there's a world where he gets traded this offseason. Something that it feels like we're not talking enough about. Also, he was awesome last year. He made 30 starts. He threw 170 innings. Every single team in Major League Baseball that's interested in winning and doesn't care about money, they would be interested in Jacob deGrom. All right, last and final division of the video, the National League West. Of course, let's get started off with the Dodgers. Bold prediction. You guys are going to hate this. They sign Kyle Tucker. Not done there. They trade for Tarek Skubal. Not done there. They trade for Luis Robert. Now I'm done. They've got the money for Tucker. They've got the prospects for Tarek Skubal. They've got the prospects for Luis Robert. Luis Robert goes to center or one of the other corner spots. Dodgers fix him. He's incredible. Tarek Skubal joined the best rotation to ever pitch in modern baseball. Why not? If the Dodgers were insane, they go, hey, you want Jose DePaul? The Tigers go, deal. Tarek Skubal is all of a sudden a Los Angeles Dodger, and then they spend $400 million on Kyle Tucker because money doesn't matter because they print it. It grows on trees in LA, and the Dodgers make the greatest lineup that we've ever seen, the greatest team we've ever seen. Like, oh, it's not going to happen. Again, it's why it's a bold prediction, but you can totally connect the dots here, a little Pepe Sylvia action, and say, how do the Dodgers not do this if they actually have the ability to do this, which they do. Okay, now that the nightmare is over, we don't need to talk about them anymore. How about the San Francisco Giants? Bold prediction. They spend the most money in Major League Baseball this offseason. I think they're going to go after a guy like Framber, give him a big contract. I think they're going to be interested in Cody Bellinger. I think they're going to be interested in Bo Bichette. I think they're interested in Kyle Tucker. I think if there is a big name free agent, they're going to be interested. Buster Posey is not there to rebuild. Buster Posey took that job to win. Now they brought in Tony Vitello. I love the hire. This is going to be one of the most interesting teams to watch this offseason because I think they're going to be wildly active. They kind of need to be if they want to be a true contender. They're still just a couple pieces away. How do you do it? Spend money. They spend the most money in baseball this offseason. For the Colorado Rockies, they just hired Paul DePodesta to run their baseball ops. You know who Paul DePodesta helped draft on the New York Mets? Brandon Nimmo. You know who Brandon Nimmo's favorite team growing up was? The Colorado Rockies. Brandon Nimmo has no trade clause. He says, it's fine. You're trading me to the Rockies. The Rockies go, we got Brandon Nimmo. He's going to be a great baseball player here. He's going to help us win more games, even though they have bigger issues. Brandon Nimmo trade to the Colorado Rockies. Otherwise, I actually have no idea what they do. Paul DePodesta made one of the worst trades in NFL. He's trying to redeem it by fixing the Rockies, which feels almost impossible, but will be fun to watch. For the San Diego Padres, the laziest take of all, they trade Fernando Tatis Jr. Of course they're not going to do this, but I don't really know what else they can do that would be bold. Maybe it's time to move on from him, cash in on him, save some money so you can spend it elsewhere. I don't know. Tatis is really good. It doesn't make sense to trade him, but this is the lazy bold take that everybody in baseball has every offseason, which is they finally trade Fernando Tatis Jr. So I'll be the same idiot and make the same take. Fernando Tatis Jr. traded. I'm not going to even talk too much about it because truthfully, this is my least favorite one of the entire video. And then last but not least, we have the Arizona Diamondbacks. My bold prediction is they trade for Sandy Alcantara. They need pitching. Mike Hazen's talked about they're looking for pitching. Sandy is going to be available. I think they have the pieces to go get Sandy from the Marlins. The Marlins probably want some more prospect infield bats, and the Diamondbacks got him. I don't know exactly what the haul would be. I don't think it's going to take a Jordan Lawler per se, but Sandy in that ballpark, in that organization, I think it makes a lot of sense. They need another starting pitcher. This rotation is putrid. Like, if you looked at it, you might throw up. It's really bad. I think Erod is their best arm, and that guy stinks. So I think they trade for Sandy Alcantara. And those are my bold predictions for the 2026 MLB offseason. I'd love to know what you guys are thinking down in the comment section below. I'll be replying to your comments. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, as well as subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the baseball content coming at you. Follow me on all my social media, GiraffeNeckMarc. Links are in the description. That's where I'll wrap it up. You guys know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload, so click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you all next time. Bye.